Hello and welcome to this month's sales tip, the sales tip for December 2019, which is going to be focused on a reminder about a really easy place to look for potential new prospects and sources of new business, and one which actually is overlooked a lot, but I'll tell you, it's really easy to access. But before we get into that, welcome to Phnom Penh here in Cambodia. A little bit noisy at this time of the evening, hence me holding the microphone a little bit closer to me than usual. And it's provided the inspiration for this month's sales tip because, you know, this country is a wonderful place to visit. The countryside's very beautiful, the temples, and I'll show you one or two photographs of these at the end of this sales tip, are just incredible, particularly when you consider the age that they are. The people are very warm, which is what I expected. They have very good mastery of English, which I didn't expect, so the holiday's been remarkably easy. It's a great holiday venue, but I tell you what, it hasn't always been like this. Many of you will know about the very turbid and sad and tragic past this country had with the forces of the Khmer Rouge in the late 1970s, responsible for the murder of 3 million of the 8 million population of the country. You would never have dreamed of coming here on holiday in the 1980s. It would have been a crazy idea. But things have changed massively, which brings me on to the focus of this month's sales tip, where you can go to find the source of potential new business, new prospects, which is very easy to gain information about and access. Look on your database. I bet there's a lot of organisations on there who you've not contacted, or your predecessor hasn't contacted, or didn't contact rather, and haven't been contacted for quite some period of time. And things change. The needs and requirements of businesses change. The environment that they're in changes. It could be that somebody within the decision-making unit has changed. Just because that you weren't appropriate as the ideal supplier a long time ago doesn't mean that you're not going to be now. It could be that their current supplier and partner hasn't been faring so well and haven't been providing the quality of product and service and support that they promised. Well, if you don't contact them, you won't know any of these things. Now, you've got to be a little bit careful when you begin a conversation with a customer, a prospect who hasn't been spoken with for a long while, because if you use the wrong assumptive language, like, I guess things haven't changed since we last spoke, well, the answer's going to be, yes, you're right, things haven't changed since we last spoke, thank you very much, call me back again in another 2 years. So maybe questions need to be a little bit more leading and assumptive, and worded something like, tell me, how have things been changing since we last spoke? Tell me, how have the needs and requirements and challenges of the environment that you operate in changed and evolved since we last spoke? That will potentially bring out new and different needs and requirements, and it could just be that you and your organisation is a more appropriate partner and supplier than who they're working with at the moment. And a style of question that I like, I call them the magic wand questions, and they kind of start off, well, if you had a magic wand, I like this, it's my personal style. If you like these as well, please steal them and utilise them also. But I quite like asking questions like, well, if you had a magic wand, bearing in mind the way that the environment is going to change the way you've described, what one challenge would you really like to be most well prepared for? The answer to that question could be a goldmine and lead you to say, well, actually, that's something we particularly excel at. And, these questions and these conversations are particularly appropriate and are helpful, actually, not only to us, but to the prospect organisation. They're particularly helpful to both parties if their current supplier has become a little bit complacent and they've taken the business for granted and they haven't been having these conversations and asking questions about how the environment has evolved. So, to wind this all up and bring it together, the sales tip for this month. And I've got some of my notes here to make sure that I am really clear on what I recommend you do. 4 points. Number one, look at your database. I bet there's customers, prospects on there, maybe even lapsed customers who haven't been spoken with for a long time. A longer time than should have been the case. So firstly, identify who these people are. Secondly, review the notes on your database. Who have you been speaking with? Who did your predecessor speak with? What do you need to know in order that you can very quickly win their attention and gain rapport at the beginning of the telephone conversation when you contact them? Point number 3, don't just get on the phone, conduct some research. Demonstrate that you've done a little bit of even the basic things like looked at their website, looked at the website maybe of the industry body, so you have some understanding of how their environment and their needs have changed, maybe are going to change in the future. And point number 4, if it looks like it's going to be appropriate, get on the phone. It could just be that you're able to help their organisation in a way that's superior to the way that their current supplier is helping and supporting them right now. So next month, actually, I could be speaking from another great destination, because my next port of call with my wife is going to be Vietnam, which I'm sure is going to provide me with further inspiration in advance of next month's sales tip, which will of course be the first one for 2020. January 2020. In the meantime, I'll say continue to have a great selling month, have a successful selling end to the year, and I'll finish off by sharing with you some of the extraordinary sights of some of the temples that you can visit here in the beautiful, welcoming and friendly country of Cambodia. See you next month and indeed next year. Bye for now.